Joining us now is Dr. Melissa Hirschberg. She is a medical physician, an author, and founder of U Health Clinic, a preventive health and weight loss clinic in Midtown Toronto. Welcome back to What She Said.
Thank you.
And this week we get to talk TMI, that is too much information topics that no one really wants to hear about, but you should want to hear about them. We're going to start with constipation. According to a recent survey conducted by Senecot, despite being an historically uncomfortable topic, 3/4 of Canadians say they are comfortable talking about constipation because it affects more of us than you think.
That's right. I think the statistic is 46% of Canadians have suffered from constipation, at least at one point in the past year. And those are the people that are admitting it. So it's probably a lot more.
Mm-hmm. What are the main symptoms that you should look out for?
Okay, so main symptoms are infrequent bowel movements or irregular bowel movements or incomplete bowel movements. In addition, if you're having to strain and you're uncomfortable passing a bowel movement, if they're hard and dry, or if you're feeling bloated and gassy, those can all be symptoms of constipation.
But you do feel, for example, that everybody has their own rhythm, slightly different rhythm. Mm-hmm. And it's when there's a change that you should probably not think that it's something that you ate, but maybe could be constipation.
Exactly. So typically, normal bowel pattern for people can be anywhere from, 3 bowel movements a day to a bowel movement every 3 days. So whatever your normal pattern is, if there's a change or a decrease from that normal pattern, especially if it's associated with uncomfortable symptoms like dry, hard stools, bloating, gassiness, then that's constipation.
What about with children? How can you tell the difference between a tummy ache and what? I'm not talking young children still in diapers. I'm talking about sort of that, the preteen to teen years where you're not as in control of them as you used to be.
So it can be, gassiness. If they're not wanting to go on the toilet and saying it hurts to pass a bowel movement, they don't want to go because it's saying it's painful. Sometimes, believe it or not, a symptom of constipation can be when they're soiling, and this is more in younger school-aged kids, if they're soiling themselves because they're holding their bowel movements and so many days go by that it then starts going around the harder bowel movement. Mm-hmm. So those can all be symptoms. And again, you just want to talk to your pediatrician.
But again, do hormones have something to do with that? So as they're changing, let's say a young girl who's becoming prepubescent or...
Sure. So hormones definitely affect our bowel pattern. Some people, when they menstruate around that time of month, some people get diarrhea, some people get the opposite and they get constipation. The second half of your menstrual cycle, when you've got higher levels of progesterone and lower levels of estrogen, people can feel bloated and constipated. And then finally, once they do finish menstruating, then things can get back to normal. So absolutely hormones can play a role.
Is there anything typical for boys or not so much?
I don't know. Boys don't talk.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yes, you are right. You are right.
So if you have a child that has some of these symptoms, what should you be giving them? Should you be adding more fiber to their diet, making sure they're drinking enough water? What age is it safe to take, something like Senecot, which is a natural laxative?
So for sure. So for kids, you want to look at lifestyle and look at what can we do to try to figure out why they might be constipated. So first look at diet. Are they getting enough fiber? And some kids, they just could exist on, bread and mac and cheese. So you have to look, are they getting fruits? Are they getting vegetables? You might be packing it in their lunch, but are they eating it? Whole grains. So rather than just going for the white bread and the white pasta, looking at getting a higher fiber, whole grain type pasta. Cereals. Instead of just the sugary cereals, try to have one that incorporates a bit more bran. And there's lots of products out there now that are sneaky in how they get, cauliflower into the pretzel or into the food. So first, look at diet. Then you want to look at water. So are they drinking enough water? So, some kids just don't remember that when they're, out and about, that it's important to, drink from their water bottle. So you want to make sure they're getting enough fluids, enough fiber, activity. So if you have one of those kids that are into, video games or onto their computer and they're just sitting on the couch all day, whereas they used to be out playing soccer, well, all of a sudden now they might be struggling with some constipation that they didn't have beforehand. Or if they've been on any, vitamins or if your child has any illnesses or on any medication, then obviously you want to think about that and speak to their pediatrician.
And what about age for using something like a gentle occasional laxative?
So it gives recommendations on the box in terms of the different dosages for kids and for adults. I still think before you reach for something like an over-the-counter product for your child, it's still best to try the lifestyle measures first, like the fluid, and then go talk to your doctor and make sure there's no other cause in the child, a medical cause for the constipation, for instance, something with their thyroid. And then your doctor will then lead you to an over-the-counter preparation.
Okay. So now, and explain what Senokot is, because sometimes when they say it's a natural laxative, we're not completely sure what that means.
Pills contain natural senna. Senna is a plant that's been harvested for years for its laxative properties. And the Senokot tablets actually do contain the natural senna product, whereas some other products out there contain extracts from the senna plant.
So this is as natural as it gets.
It's natural.
Unless you're in a field picking it and then brewing it, which none of us have time to
but
do.
It is important to note that even though a product is natural, and we've learned this from other things, still you have to look at the dose. Even too much of a good thing can be a problem, and so you have to look and make sure you're following the dosage recommendations.
When it comes to fiber, is there too much of a good thing? Especially because now we have so many gluten intolerant people, talk about cereal or even dairy intolerant. So how do you balance out how much fiber you should be having?
So I always go back to an expression, and I think the expression was initially in Latin, but it translates to the dose makes the poison, the dose makes the cure. So when we talk about something, nothing's an absolute. You have to think about how much. So you're right, even, too much water can, you have to be mindful that you're eating a normal amount of something. One way to tell, fiber comes from fruits, vegetables, and whole grains. If you're eating way too much fiber, that could actually increase your constipation, and you might be feeling bloated and gassy because bacteria break down fiber in our colon and ferment them and turn them into gas. So if you're feeling like you're eating all this fiber and yet, hey, I'm more gassy and more constipated than I should be or than I was, you might want to look at scaling it back a little bit. You have to listen to your body.
So this would be a time then, if you're exploring that, to go to a nutritionist and maybe show them a food diary and get somebody to weigh in who knows.
Yeah. So I have, in addition to my medical practice, I have a weight loss practice, and I have a diet called The Good Diet. You can read about it online at thegooddietplan.com. But I get people to come in, and it's really important for them to bring their food journal so I can look at what they're eating, because a lot of time people they don't recognize the little mistakes they might be eating that they think are healthy. They think they're doing a really good thing and eating a healthy thing, but it turns out either they're eating too much of it or eating it in an unbalanced way. So keeping a food journal and making an appointment with a nutritionist or even just your family doctor can be one way to start.
And certainly you with a weight loss clinic, it's interesting because it can be beneficial and it can be bad for you to be taking anything that is causing you to rid your body of food.
Right. So, the goal with the, gentle laxatives like Senokot is not to rid your body of food. This is not a weight loss product. This is a product you're using for the gentle relief of occasional constipation.
Right.
So this is not meant to be taken for a prolonged time, and this is not meant to be taken in an excessive dose by any means. This is for if all of a sudden maybe you've traveled, maybe you were recently in the hospital, or maybe you were on prescription medication, or maybe something affected your bowel habits for a short term and you're not feeling good, you're bloated, you're gassy, you haven't had a bowel movement in a few days. That's when you would be looking at a product like Senokot for the occasional constipation.
Okay, is there more information on their website about
Absolutely.
things? And it's Senokot?
Yeah, you can read more about constipation, gut health, and Senokot in general at senokot.ca. And you can also just do a general, look on, about constipation anywhere from WebMD or any of the good sites online.
And your site is, if people want to get in touch with you?
Sure. So my site is melissahirschberg.com, and my weight loss site is thegooddietplan.com.